You do not want to miss this. The Joe Rogan Experience is no stranger to wild moments, with guests sometimes going completely off the rails, spouting insane ideas, or even arguing with thin air. But that's where Joe shines. With his signature mix of wit and patience, he steps in just at the right moment to reel things back in, delivering a reality check like no one else can. Whether it's calling out contradictions or injecting a dose of common sense, Joe has a way of keeping the chaos in check, and today, well, we're covering a few of those moments. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
And this idea that we argue about the Second Amendment, like, let's let constitutional lawyers, I think, discuss a lot of those things, and we should all understand that and be curious about it. But our Constitution is also silly. Like, let's remake everything. Like, let's have that conversation. There's so much better that we can do. Have a serious conversation about what kind of guns and bullets people can have. Not that they can have them or that they can't have. Like, that's the conversation. That's where we should be right now. Everything gets regulated.
The gun thing, the most fucked up part about the messiness of the gun thing is that even if you made guns illegal, even if you said you can't have any bullets, you'll all go to jail. There's so many guns. You're not getting them all. It's not possible.
That's political comedian Pete Dominic for you. I would understand if you're against the Second Amendment, that's totally normal, but to kick things off by saying, let's remake the entire Constitution just because of that issue is beyond absurd. Even the most far-left voices haven't gone that far, and let's hope it stays that way. Our Constitution is not some disposable document you can toss out because one part doesn't align with your perspective. It's the foundational framework that has guided our nation for over 2 centuries now. But Pete is not just one to complain because he's a man with a plan, just not a very good one.
But I agree. How do you do it?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the most important point. There's already 330. There's more guns than there are people. So what do you do? So, by the way, I think you buy as many as you can back for sure. You spend a whole bunch of taxpayer money. Just help. By the way, there's a ton of people in a bind right now that have a rifle, but like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to afford my insulin. Let me get rid of this AK-47. To live another month. You buy some guns back. It's a good expenditure of money. And then melt them down and turn them into furniture for people.
So if you wanted to do that without changing the Second Amendment, like you just have a buyback where you just offer people the opportunity to make some money by giving their guns up.
Well, the Second Amendment has been interpreted wrong by the Supreme Court, in my opinion. So I don't think you even need to talk about the Second Amendment. I think just people just need to agree that these guns shouldn't be sold.
Well,
the
you
ammunition.
need to talk about the Second Amendment. I mean, it's a big conversation.
No, because people can have guns. You can have guns. The Rick has a right to have guns. You just can't have these guns.
Listen, man, if you need a kitchen table or stand, you can go to IKEA or even better, Home Depot. Spend your weekend DIYing it. They're not even sponsoring this video, by the way, but Home Depot, if you're watching this, hit me up. Okay, this point is Pete didn't go on the podcast to make valid arguments, and as time went on, it was obvious that his entire strategy was to introduce a new idea with the sole purpose of disagreeing with whatever Joe had to say, who was starting to get fed up with Pete's shenanigans.
The main issue is definitely the guns and the bullets in them.
Well, the main issue is the person that's capable of shooting people with the guns and the bullets.
No, it's the guns and the bullets.
The guns and the bullet are inanimate objects. Without a person pulling the trigger, we're talking nonsense here. They're not going to just shoot themselves.
It's a healthcare issue, and it's so extreme. It's really. If you want to know the answer to healthcare, you should talk to public health experts. They have those answers. They have the research. But
hold on. What research? On what?
Well, they don't have enough research on. They don't have enough research on gun violence.
What are you
unfortunately.
talking about then? I'm
talking about if you want to know the solutions for what is impacting and creating death by any measure, accidental death.
Right, but we're talking about gun violence, right?
Right.
What healthcare professionals have the solutions to gun violence?
And just like that, Pete kept talking in circles. In addition to contradicting himself multiple times, Joe's audience wasn't happy with him either, and they made sure to let him know through the comments. One person said, quote, "I was listening on the podcast app and pulled up YouTube just so I could come to this video and dislike it." While another one added, quote, "I swear I wanted to like this guy, he just kept digging deeper and deeper." But nothing comes close to the time when Kurt Metzger just started ranting on his own about a topic that no one was even talking about.
There's that whole joke thief there. I'm like, listen, I was there, and also I know comedy, and I know better than you at home. So if I tell you, just think I know better. I'll just put it that way. Maybe that's arrogant, but I just been doing it for 20 years, and you never had the balls to get on stage. So I think I just know better. They're outraged.
You're fighting with someone who's not even here. Nobody even knows what you're fighting over right there. You just started some joke thief fight. No one has any idea what you're saying.
All right, guys, is when I defended Amy.
Right.
Amy, and I had people like lecture, and I'm like, don't presume to tell me. The same reason I became a comic. I could do that. So but at least I did it. You know, if you get on stage and do it, I'll give it to you. But these people think they can do your job.
But hold on a second. In their defense, they're looking at a film that shows time after time bits that
Gavin made to specifically her because she said I play a racist Republican.
What?
The little YouTube video where they took movies. The show, which by the way, she doesn't write the show. It was ridiculous.
Okay, some time to give context. Allegations of Amy Schumer stealing jokes started as early as 2015, and people on Reddit were the ones to notice it first. Then in 2016, several comedians sent out tweets implying she had stolen their material. Then there were YouTube videos doing comparisons between the original jokes and the ones Amy used. She labeled it as parallel thinking back then and explained it's possible that her shows unintentionally discuss themes covered by other comics, but her writers always scrapped the material once they realized it. Now, Kurt Metzger was a writer for Inside Amy Schumer, which aired for 5 seasons on Comedy Central, so that's why Kurt was so dead beat on defending her.
But wait a minute. There were bits that were exactly the same as
you mean
bits
very
that were
mediocre bits that anyone would have thought of?
Dude, relax.
I drank 2 caveman nitros and you're talking to me this way.
I do. I knew this. But you're
by the way, I feel like I'm going to run through the wall and leave a Kurt-shaped imprint.
I can tell.
I am so...
You're jacked.
Dude, you gotta get Kool-Aid. You gotta get some Kool-Aid.
Caveman nitro.
But you're arguing against someone who's not even here.
Well,
right?
I was trying to bring up why they were going at me. That's why.
But the problem with what you're saying is they have evidence. They're looking at one bit and it's exactly the same as another bit.
If I look at the evidence and I come to a different conclusion, let's go with my conclusion because I was there.
What about due process?
And the guys who are saying it,
he's a due process guy.
That's not enough. That's not enough to convince someone. Oh,
dude,
just trust me.
Do you think we in the writers' room?
But isn't that like some authoritative sheriff type? Just trust me.
Hey,
isn't
I'm not going to them.
To the sheriff.
I'm not going to them. They're coming to me.
Yeah, I don't know what he was on about. The star of the show you write for is faced with the serious allegation of plagiarizing other people's work, and you go with, oh, just trust me, bro. I know what I'm talking about. Talk about being delusional. Also, just because you're screaming at the top of your lungs, that doesn't make you right. Quite the opposite, actually. It shows you're being defensive, and since your arguments are falling flat, you're resorting to raising your voice in the hope that the other side will shut up or change the topic. But those tactics didn't work with Joe, and he calmly explained the reasoning as to why he was wrong.
I don't give a shit about it, by the way.
If they see the evidence, right? You have to be real clear and non-confrontational when you're handling something like that.
But, dude, I won't. First of all, number one, the larger issue is I never should be on social media talking to any of these at all, explaining it. I don't owe any of you, anybody listening, if you have a question or a judgment, I don't owe you an explanation for
I understand.
I don't know where you got the idea that I do. So I was wrong that I even had an answer at all because you have people, hey, joke thief. Really, that's the word about me, that I'm a joke thief. From some know-nothing, and they just want to see I'll talk back to them. Most of these animals can't believe you're speaking to them.
They think that you did steal it, and you got to explain how this was parallel thinking. There's going to be a bunch of people.
Many times I did.
I know, but a lot of people haven't heard it, and you're blurting it out like that. Someone's arguing you in the room.
Seems like Kurt was the only true fan Amy ever had in her entire life. The funny thing is, she was accused of the same thing in 2022, as she was one of the hosts of the 94th Academy Awards, and this time the joke in question was a viral tweet from December of the year before that, so I guess it's fair to say that she parallel thought her way out of a successful career. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get a conversation rolling in the comments down below, and if you want your friends to see these epic moments, please share the video with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.